we'll get started here. I'd like to welcome Jackson Payne. He's a very decorated Olympic gymnast for Team Canada, an athlete, a student, an entrepreneur, but of course, first and foremost, a loving husband to his amazing wife, Julie, and a father to Joan, and now a new addition to the family, Mindy, and of
Yeah,
course, a man of great faith. So I have a huge respect for you, Jackson, in the years that we've known each other, watching you compete, but always continually developing all parts of your life, and that's one thing I really appreciate about you. So I appreciate you being here, man, and being part of my life. So
yeah.
awesome.
Well, I really appreciate, you know, everything you've done for me as well and supporting me all through that. So it's very mutual.
Yeah, absolutely. And what have you been up to in COVID?
Yeah. So well, as everyone can assume, our gymnastics gyms have been closed, and just with everything else, and so I've been training at home the best I can. Bringing equipment home from the gym. Smaller equipment, obviously, and so doing what I can each morning to work out and stay and keep the body in shape. And working out for me keeps the mind in shape. It keeps the mind sharp. And other than that, I have different things here and there that are going on. I'm actually keeping really busy with pursuing some school, and also I've got different business opportunities on the side, and so just really doing what I can to stay sharp, in, like you said, in all aspects of our lives, and to make the most of what's going on.
So you're probably one of the most jacked dudes I've ever met. Like when you're working out, and I followed you at the gymnastics gym as well, and you got your shirt off, and man, you're just jacked. So what do you like? You can't even get into a regular gym. You're doing everything from home. So I know you said you brought some equipment, but what's like a daily routine on the workout side look for you?
Yeah, so daily routine would be, I so what I always start out with in my workout routines is what I call, it doesn't sound pretty, but just a warm up. Just a warm up, and that can be anything from 5 minutes to 30 minutes long, and I try to keep it as consistent as I can, in regards to what I do at the gymnastics gym. So I go on runs twice a week, as a warm up. I do, usually my warm ups involve more of a leg and core circuit, to help get the blood flowing, and then I do a lot of stretching at home as gymnasts. We
Oh
keep
yeah.
limber, and then once I've done that, the warm up and stretching, then my core part of my workout begins, and that's usually with gymnastics we use our upper body a lot, and so that usually involves upper body types of exercises, and to be quite honest, I don't use a lot of weights. I don't really lift a lot of weights, and I do a lot of body weight exercises. So that's a lot of handstand stuff, a lot of handstand push-ups, a lot of press to handstands,
And there's
and
a lot of balance in that too, isn't there?
a lot of balance. Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of balance and core. Igniting your core is very key in a lot of our gymnastics movements, and then of course a cool down. And I've always been I always believe in a good cool down routine, because it helps you for the next workout, right? You a lot of times, you might be okay, you might be fine to stop a workout and be okay the next day. You do that a few times, but once if you do that all the time, where you just stop a workout and you don't have a good cool down routine, it could creep up on you on the next couple of workouts where you start to feel not quite as good, or you might get injured as you go along. So to me, a good cool down routine, which is roll out on your roller or do some stretching, just let your body and those muscles that you just used relax,
right,
and be able to replenish themselves. So
nice, man. That's sweet. And so it's never, you look at athletic career, you look at a business career, entrepreneurship, it's never about what you've accomplished. Most of the times it comes down to what you've gone through. And going through COVID as an elite athlete, I would think, and the restrictions that puts on you. So how are you kind of using this time to better yourself, but also your career?
Yeah, during this time, I see the opportunities of other aspects of my training, other aspects of the sport, and a lot of that has to do with the mental side of things. As there's as you get higher in the sport, as you get more elite, the mental aspect is way more than your physical aspect, and so that's something that I've worked on, I am working on, and trying to improve, so that when I go back, not only in training, but when I do end up competing again, that my mental strength is better than it was before, and I've gotten a lot of advice from I've got advice from you. I've got advice from a lot of other people that I trust to build that, and so that's definitely one of the things I've been working on.
Nice. Yeah, I mean it's I know when I played professional sports, man, it ended up being, you're working on the mental game way beyond what you're working on the physical, and because there's so much in muscle memory, and it's there. The skills are there, and the difference between hitting the podium and not always comes down to the mental finish, right?
Yeah.
So it's been announced the Olympics are delayed until 2021, postponed until 2021. So are we going to see a stronger Jackson Payne for 2021?
Yeah, I sure hope so. Yeah, that's definitely the plan, and as we all go through this COVID situation, week by week, sometimes day by day, month by month, where that's I think the best way to execute what we're doing to overcome this situation, because as much as we want to plan for the future and plan for next year, like for instance in my circumstance, plan for Tokyo, with all these uncertainties and with all the things that are going on, in the economy and personal life and whatever, some of the most important thing is to make sure you're doing what you can day by day, rather than planning too much in the future when a lot of that right now is pretty uncertain. So
yeah, for sure. And just format wise, is there gonna be re-qualifiers? Because I think you'd already had, like, how is qualifying gonna work again?
Yeah, that's something we're still
they haven't announced.
Yeah, the what we call FIG, Federal International Gymnastics, they've yet to fully disclose the rest of the qualification process, and to give you an idea, this happened in many other sports, but like a week before our first qualifying, the first qualifying event of 2020,
yeah,
was canceled, and we were only a week away from it, and I was right at my peak, ready to go, and just canceled.
So what are kind of some of your plans for, or what are you doing to plan for life after sport?
Yeah, good question. So my plans for life after sport, I've within the last few years, I've been planning this, because like you said, there's gonna come a day when whether I like it or not, my body's not gonna like it, and my mind might still be there, but it won't be in sync. So I have been planning for that time, and a lot of that had to do with me exploring really what my interests were to be at first. Right now I think I found it, and I'm for sure on the business side of things and kind of entrepreneurial dreams, and so but at first I was looking at on the medical side of things. I've always been interested in the body and how it works, and and that's just been always an interest. But business really interests me because as an athlete, as you touched on, we do have you just develop the desire to kind of reap your reward, right? You want to, everything that you put in, you want to get anything out. You want to get the most out of it, and so that's what I see in business is the more you invest yourself, the more you dedicate yourself to that specific field, the better you'll become, and the more and you will reap your reward. Depending on how much effort you put in and the type of drive you have. So I've prepared through going to school. I've been taking school throughout my career, and a little bit here and there. As an athlete, it's sometimes hard to find that time and commitment, and to balance those two commitments. But I have continued with school, and been open to business opportunities here and there to just explore them. So that I've come to a point though now where I clearly see a future. Whether it's one way or another, I see 2 or 3 doors that I can take after sport. That whichever one I take, I feel like I'll be okay, and I'll be able to thrive, and I think that's what all athletes would want, because as soon as you're done your sport, I'm starting to creep up on that and to feel the feeling of, man, I've just spent 20 years of my life doing something, and now it's a lot of that is going to go away, and so you have to channel that into something.
And yeah, so I always say, you may not be able to, I mean, because of my health and the injuries and stuff I had, ended my career early. My sport ended, but I just found a different game that I play now, right? And I think as athletes, we always want to be recognized and have that recognition, and most modern, regular employee jobs just you don't get that fulfillment, and that the higher I perform, the more I want to get rewarded for it, and ultimately getting paid what you're worth, right?
Exactly.
So it kind of plays into my next question is why do you think athletes make such successful entrepreneurs? And I know you said you think you'll do okay. I know in my heart 100% you will be okay, just from what I know about you and your ambition and drive, and I know no matter what way you go, you'll be successful and find your way to the top. But what do you think it is that isn't in an athlete that makes them such a successful entrepreneur?
I think athletes develop certain characteristics earlier on. In general, I would say, in general, they they develop certain characteristics and qualities that that come from being in competitive sports and come from learning, how to adapt to certain situations and how to thrive off of even negativity and then finding positivity and in certain things and overcoming the trials that come with every sport, whether it's injury or just trying to become stronger physically, all those things. They teach you about yourself, and they teach you about how to deal with external consequences or things that come onto you that you don't have any control over. And then in the same sense, you understand and you start to learn how to control what you do have control over. And so I think as athletes, it transitions well into the real life, and to be able to respond to the things that come with business, and the other part of this too is that you learn how to work with people. You learn how to work with teammates, even though I'm sure you agree, even though golf is considered an individual sport, you have a team around you that builds you up, and it's not just you that gets you where you are. And likewise with me, I could name a ton of people that helped me, that I would not be where I am without them, 100%. And as an athlete, you learn how to, first of all, recognize that you can't do everything on your own, and that's the reality of business as well. And then also you learn how to work with them and to be a good co-worker, so to speak, and to be how to see see good qualities in other people and use that. So I think there's a lot of different things that athletes can transition into becoming really good business people.
And I 100% agree, man. Nobody accomplishes anything on their own. Even as a baby, learning to walk, we're getting supported right from, day one, our parents, and then when we move on to a professional level, then it's coaches and trainers and nutritionists. I had a whole team working with me around the clock that got me there. Yeah, when I was out on the golf course and competing, it was me by myself, but you don't win the tournament on the course. It's won before, and all the prep you've done before the competition, right?
Exactly.
So you mentioned you had talked about the medical field you had looked at, and I think a lot of athletes do. They become coaches, or they become fitness trainers just because they're familiar with the body and how it works. But there's definitely a lot of athletes. I mean, some of the greats, Wayne Gretzky and Michael Jordan, and elite athletes like that became business owners and started up businesses. So what was it that kind of made you transition from that now the business world is where you want to be?
I that's what made me realize that was, I guess I kind of touched on it before, was I've always wanted to do something where I wanted to get out of it as much as I put in it, right? And that's really what was driving me, and I think there was something, and I'm sure you could do that with many professions, but that whatever that is going to be a business aspect to it. Whether someone opens up their own clinic as a doctor, or a physio, or a coach opens up his own gym or starts his own training business, and that's because there's a business side of things, and whatever you are, if you're the best in it, you're gonna do really well. And so that's why I saw the potential and saw the I guess the commonality that I already have within my character to be a businessman and to be able to thrive in that aspect. So I think that's what really made me choose this path and to pursue.
And I think you're right. I think most athletes, you're almost born an entrepreneur, or as you're raised as an athlete, because no one's forcing you to go to practice. You can quit anytime you want and walk
Right.
away, right? And that's essentially what entrepreneurship is. No one's, making you go open your own, business. And so athletes, I think it comes naturally for them. And you're right, whether they get into the medical field or they get into, they're going to end up being some kind of, business owner, starting their own entrepreneurship. Awesome, Jackson. Well, honestly, man, I really appreciate you coming on today. And, I follow your journey religiously, and I'm rooting in your corner 100%. So it's good to see you healthy and safe, and the family's all doing well. And we'll.
They're outside right now. I wish they're taking advantage of the sun, but next time we'll definitely have them on.
Yeah, I look forward to it, Jackson. Okay, man, I appreciate it. You have a great night.
Great to see you. We'll talk to you again.
Yeah, you bet.